Good morning, Salibonani. This is the Weekly Affair. I'm Sikhangele Ngwenya, your host. On this program, we focus on the impact of COVID-19 on different facets of our lives. So today on the program, I invited Manyuchi, the Secretary General for the Private Security. Welcome to the program, Mr. Manyuchi.
You're welcome.
Please tell us more about the Private Security Organization.
Private Security is a security union which was registered to represent employees employed in the private security industry. We were registered in 2002, so we've been in existence for quite some time now. And this is our head office. We are headquartered in Blue Whale, but we have other branches throughout the country. What
are some of the issues that you stand for?
Employee representation actually involves quite a number of things. Their general working conditions, wages, we negotiate for their wages, and in actual fact, can I say their welfare, the welfare of the security employees. Yeah.
So 2020, we had COVID-19 pandemic worldwide.
Correct.
How did this affect the private security workers?
It did affect in a way, or in a very serious way. Security employees are required to be at their workstations nearly every day. So when we hit by this pandemic, the government actually, the private security worker industry was declared an essential service. And as such, they were required, yes, and as such, they were required to report for duty. Notwithstanding the fact that some other employees in the other sectors, it's like, during that time, they were not allowed to stay indoors. But the guards were actually coming reporting for duty nearly every day. And it is a pity government employees were given a COVID allowance. But in our industry, it's like our employers were very adamant. And you look at a situation where at all our border entries, you find security employees. Yeah. When you go to into a company, just for example, you find their guards at the main entrance. And they are required, in some instances, they are required to search individuals and the risk which they were associated to. I remember we lost quite a number of them due to COVID-19, but there was no allowance. And up to now, there is no allowance. And it's quite a pity.
So, whose duty is it, whose responsibility is it to cushion private security?
Private security, it is the responsibility of the employers to ensure that their employees are covered, the welfare of their employees are covered. We come in as an union to negotiate for those things. But unfortunately, alas, in our industry, it's like there is a lot of politics going around, where we've got three groups of employers, both representing employers in the industry. We've got Security Association of Zimbabwe, we've got the Zimbabwe National Security Association, we've got this PISA. It's just, it was really recently registered and been taken on board in our council.
Maybe to just have a background of your situation, the issues that you are raising right now. How does the government collaborate with your employers to make sure that your welfare is taken care of, especially during COVID-19?
Obviously, as you are aware, the government actually gave the right to all the sectors to come up with their own ECs where they will then negotiate. So it is on the negotiating part of it where our own employers in the security industry are very adamant. At the end of the day, they will then shoulder the blame to the government to say, no, we can't do that because the government is not paying us, because a number of them are actually getting government premises. And they will say, no, where do we get the money? Because we give service to the government departments. At the end of the day, the government is not paying us. And we then ask ourselves questions. If this government is for the people, how do they want to be serviced without paying for the services? Because at the end of the day, we've got an employee, we've got a family to look after. There's a family to look after. People need to go to school. Transport is needed. And the same government, which is now talking of 2030 being a medium-income economy, where employees are not being paid because of them, because we are told it is the government which is not paying them. So that's how awkward our situation is. Because honestly, if it is true, because at the end of the day, we're not so sure whether it is the government which is not paying them, because that's what they are telling us. But it is not only the government. You go to other security companies, big security companies, who are not being provided with contracts to guard government departments. They are raking in millions of dollars. They are raking in millions of dollars. And what have they done? They've decided to manipulate the workers. In these companies, what they are doing is they've got a group of employees who are being paid in USD. Another group of employees are being paid in RTGS. Those being paid in USD, some of them are being paid as much as 220. And the other group which is being paid in RTGS is getting as little as 50,000 RTGS, which goes into the bank. So what it means is, because this employee cannot access the USD at interbank rate, he has to go to the parallel market. So if the 50 is inclusive of housing and transport, after deductions, we are looking at a situation where this employee is getting around 38, depending on other issues, because people, some have Onyaradzo and all these other things, including statutory deductions, plus the 2%. So what I was saying is, now we've got an employee who has been paid 38,000. That's the net at the end of the day, which goes through the bank. There is a 2%. All bank transactions, no matter what, in what form, be it ZPT, still this employee is charged. So when that employee goes to the parallel market, it means he can only access not even more than $30 US. So we've got employees in the security industry who are being paid $30 US because they can only access the US dollars on the parallel market. But in the same organization, someone has been paid 220. You look at the difference. Same employees. Same employees. One employer. One is being paid 30 US. The other one is being paid 220.
So in a way, the government as well as your employers are sabotaging you?
Very correct. Very correct. Because the employers want to see the union sinking. That also applies to the National Employment Council, because the NEC is being run from the dues which come from both the employer and the employees. But as long as they maintain a very low wage, which means whatever percentage is going to the unions, it's very small as well. We can't move. At the end of the day, we are supposed to be going to Chiredzi, we are supposed to be going to Nyamapanda border post, wherever there is an employee, but we can't do that. And it is a deliberate issue. Because surprisingly, for your information, you find out when they come to the negotiating table, they will come with a very little percentage to say, no, we propose to pay 10%. 10% of 23,000 RTGS, how much is that? When they go back to their employer, to their companies, some will then start paying them, because what they don't want to do is to increase the basic. Yeah. They would love to have a situation where they will pay allowances, because they know at the end of the day, even if your contract is terminated, they will pay you your terminal benefits using a very small wage, using a very small basic wage. So it is a pity. It is really a pity. It's not surprising. We have seen people who have been retired from the security industry pushing some push carts in town because they just could not do anything. And we are saying, no, in time, enough is enough. Honestly, some people should use their brains. We are in this all together. Why would a group, at the end of the day, look at the classes now. We're going to the big ones and the small ones. The majority are suffering and a few are benefiting. And these are the kind of employers we've got.
So as the union, how far have you gone in terms of trying to engage the employers as well as the government, and what has been the response?
Very correct, madam. I think we have gone for 3 meetings now of the negotiators trying to engage the employers. And what we were saying is, no, why not denominate our salaries in US so that what happens with the market, they will take care of themselves. We are not saying we need to be paid in US. But we are simply saying, if you can denominate, we know you've got a stable currency. Where if, for example, we agree on 200, on the date of payment, you can then use the interbank rate. If it goes up, then that's it. If it goes down, then that's it. But we can't negotiate using the RTGS, because the moment we turn our back, it is gone. Yeah, there's nothing, completely nothing. So that was our basis of argument. They met 3 times, they could not agree. And in terms of our constitution, if negotiators meet on 3 occasions without agreeing, you have to report it to the full council. The full council is the board. In fact, it's the highest decision made in a board. So we met on Friday as the full council, and we had to put our position clear, because the argument was on which currency should we use in determining our wages. So we tried to explain to them, no, it's not like we are saying pay us USD. Those who are able to do that, then that's fine with us. But for those who are not able to do that, in as much as you guys are actually charging your clients in USD and being paid or at the prevailing interbank rate on the particular day your client will be paying you, that's exactly what we're also saying. But that again, it is very unfortunate. The last time we had to issue our concerns through the media everywhere. When we met, one of the employers then told us to say, no, there is a third end in all this. A third end where we are saying, your employees are saying they can't survive. Where is the third end coming from? And also, I was so disappointed. We have employers who come in party vehicles. It's like you will be trying to instill fear into the negotiators, because some of the negotiators are employees. So we can't bring our party vehicles to a negotiating table where we believe this has nothing to do with politics. But at the end of the day, then we try to instill fear into us, to say, no, because you guys are saying you need money, there is a third end behind that. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So would you say that COVID-19 worsened your situation as security cuts, or it has always been like that?
It has worsened our situation, though it has been like that for quite some time. But with the coming in of the COVID-19, it actually worsened a very big situation, because we're already in the intensive care unit. We're already in the intensive care unit, and there again, a calamity hits us, then it's terrible. It's terrible.
So it has always been a problem, but COVID worsened your
situation? It worsened our situation, yes.
Okay. So on the issue of the PPEs, you mentioned that most of your guys, or some of your guys, died during COVID-19.
Correct. Because
they were exposed, probably, and they had to report for duty every day.
Correct.
So did you guys have any assistance for PPEs and everything that you needed to do to keep yourselves safe from?
It is a pity. In some companies, yes. In some companies, no. Yeah, because we have got some companies who purport to be little boys. To say, because we are new companies, you can't afford some of these things. So you look at the risk that employee was exposed to. Even if you negotiate on something, it's like at the end of the day, some other companies will say we are not able to do that. Then, which is really a pity. Because I remember at one time, 2-3 years back, I remember at one time as private secretary union, we had to raise some concerns, I think I forgot, through the minister then, who was informed, to say, no, things are not going well in the security industry. And again, the Minister of Home Affairs should actually look into it, because some of these companies are registered through the Minister of Home Affairs. So we say, no, you just can't let everyone be an employer. Does he have the resources? So it's like we may think some deals are being done behind the scenes, where if a contract want to come out within the government, someone up there may say, can you come up with a security company, because that's the best way, the quickest way of making money. Buy some tattered uniforms, then there's no protective clothing, there's nothing. It is a pity. If you move around town and see some security companies, some security guards, you feel pity. You feel a really pity. It's bad.
What about training? Did you guys go through any training when they
are being employed?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. Could we have some companies, of course, who conducted those trainings? In particular, the big companies, I can't mention by names, but we got those companies who actually did that. But the majority, particularly our own brothers, our own brothers.
There was no training.
There was no training.
You were just getting in.
It depends on the client. If a client is lied to say, no, I have provided everything. But in some of these cases, you find out the client will then provide because he needs the guy to be there. Then he will then provide as a client. But when you go to their companies, they don't do that.
And then for those who lost their lives, did they have any assistance from companies or maybe from the government?
There is nothing. There is completely nothing. There is completely nothing. What is in the security industry as of now is a gratuity. You work for 5 years, then if you are terminated, probably, and how much will be that? Looking at the basic. 5 years. I remember one guy was terminated in this big security company. Do you know what happened? He was a member of the Zion Christian Church. They had to donate, after having served 37 years, for him to be able to go to his rural home. Because he came out with completely nothing. But you look at the range of vehicles they are driving. Whether small or big, the type of vehicles they are driving. And you look at the person who is making that employer to drive that vehicle. You can't imagine, honestly, it's painful. Here we are, someone has been paid 30 US. That's his salary at the end of the day. Then rent house, the owner of because they are using one room. They've got a wife, kids, that's your bedroom, that's your dining, that's your everything. They sleep in that single room. And the room in town is costing 20 US. Which means this employee is now left with 10 US to survive. Because they've got the money, they can afford. But the person who's bringing that money is nothing. Can we really say this is what Mbuyanyanda Sibons, you know, and Mafubo Mbuyanyanda Achamuka, Undokumuka Mbuyanyanda? Honestly. And if Urobo was to rise up today, Kumuka Nasu Urumba Angachi Ndoza Takainu Ragu Sangwere. Because we're fighting a system. And we still have a system. The West is now, I think this is the West. From what we're fighting for, to correct the system, we've made it worse. It's a pity.
So what from the experience that you are sharing right now, what could have worked? What could you have done as the association to make sure that security cuts are taken care of?
We are trying our level best to engage the employers. But we've come to a situation where we are saying, no, if it can't happen, what do we do? The employees are now saying, we can't continue coming to work without us being paid. We can't survive. We are incapacitated. However, they've been pushing for a collective job action. They're actually pushing for one. To say, no, rather, Majogo pass. And that's it. Because we feel people are not being sincere. We feel employers are not being honest with us. Yeah. For a company to exist, there should be an employee and an employer. But if this other part now is made can't function, then what are we doing? What are we doing? They're not doing anything.
What other options are there for the private security?
What we've been saying, we're saying no, we really need to engage the Minister of Home Affairs. Engage government because it's like government has got a part to play in this. Engage government through the Ministry of Home Affairs, through the Ministry of Labour. Earlier on I said we tried on several occasions to engage the minister then, who was Priscilla Mfumira, before what happened But it's like all our efforts to engage here were we could not succeed.
Yeah.
For what reasons we don't know, but we wrote quite a number of letters, even through the registrar who registered these trade unions, to say no, we seem to have a serious problem in the security industry. Instead of you guys waking up tomorrow morning and say we've got a registered security company, why do we not involve the same people who are in that come up with a board? Go through the vetting process. So this guy who is coming into the security industry, does he really have the qualities to be in the security? Does he have the capital? Because it's like they will come from nowhere, no capital, pick up a few guys in the street and you start a security company. And we are saying that process is very irregular.
So do you think going for a strike is the best thing to do now? Do you think it's going to give you the attention that you're looking for? And also, to add on that, I had an interview with the teachers union as well, and they were complaining about their wages, that the money that they're getting is not enough and they're incapacitated and actually failing to turn up for work. And also the nurses have been striking because of the wages. So do you think the strike is going to work?
You know, it shows we're in a crisis. If all sectors of the economy, all employees are saying things are bad. You know, I remember I was told when people went to war, they tried to engage. They did try to engage. There were quite a number of conferences which were called to bring in parties together. But at the end of the day, the guys then decided to say, no, we can't continue engaging this guy. What we need to do is to go out and then come back and fight the system. It's not like there were no laws. There were laws. But there are times when you say, no. Then you give another dama, it doesn't work. We have to stand up and fight for your rights. In a way, I think it will make them wake up. Yes, in a way, because every sector, if you go to hospitals, you find security guards. And I don't know what will happen if they decide not to come to work. Where we got a nurse who's saying his salary is very small, you're being given the opportunity because there is no guard. The dispensaries, I don't know where they keep them. When the guards were there, then I don't know what will happen in their presence. Then that applies throughout all the sectors where premises are being guarded by security guards.
So what advice would you give to the employers as well as the government, seeing that they are responsible for making sure that your kids are able to go to school?
We need serious engagement. We really need serious engagement. I'm sure the government is going to come in, probably faced with this impending security industry collective job action. Honestly, I think the government will have to come in. I think the employers will be open-minded, particularly when we have a situation where whether it is the party is aware that one of its own is going around threatening their own employees. Because these are the same voters. Look here, we have got we are all from different political. Well, you bring your CCC vehicle, I bring my ZANU-PF vehicle, and they negotiating. The other guy brings his Ndu, and they don't. What do you think will happen? That's bad. So in a way, we are feeling the government, because the party is the ruling, the ones who are in government. And when we see their vehicles being misused to that extent, where an individual person will then come in with his ZANU-PF marked vehicle to negotiations, and then start telling us there is a third hand because we are saying we are hungry. then that's a threat to us. I don't think ZANU-PF will allow that. I don't think at all ZANU-PF will allow that, and they need to take corrective measures. But engagement, I think is the best way forward, because that would be disaster. If security guards go on strike, honestly, if you were still, I remember 98, 99, and 2000, there were similar strikes, but the 2001 was quite something else, because it actually ignited the whole country.
Yeah.
The whole country, security guards throughout the country went on strike, and I happened to be the leader of that strike in 2000, and we would want to avoid that at all costs.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manyuchi, for taking your time today.
You're welcome.
I don't know whether you have something to say before we close.
My parting word is to say, honestly, the situation in our country is bad. It is bad. Everyone is crying. We've been talking about nurses, teachers, construction industry, nearly everything. Things are bad. And I hope those in power will try to really look at this. We need serious engagement. At this level, we really need serious engagement. All parties should be involved, probably for the betterment of this country. Without that, it's unfortunate. If we can involve everyone, churches, trade unions, everyone who is in the thing, I think we'll come up with something.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, you're welcome.
I wish you all the best on your engagements.
Definitely.
Hoping some things are going to change.
Sure.
For a better future. Thank you so much for watching the Weekly Affair. This was Mr. Manyuchi, the Secretary General for the Private Security. Do follow us on all our social media platforms at Side Zimbabwe. It's a goodbye for now.